welcome to LaunchLeft Podcast. I'm Rain Phoenix. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Follow us on all socials at LaunchLeft. Today's very special guest is Ms. Lola Kirke, sitting to my right.
Hello.
Lola.
Hi, Rain.
So nice to see you again after many, many years.
Always a pleasure.
And hear your beautiful voice on music that is out now that people can find.
Yes. Thank you.
Lady for Sale is the name of the record. Now you're with Third Man, is that right?
Yes, I am with Third
Wonderful.
Man.
And you live in Nashville, is that right too?
Yes, I live in Nashville.
Wow, things have changed.
Things
You
have
were
really changed.
a New York gal, and now you're living in Nashville.
I know. I mean, I feel like every couple of years I like to do a full reinvention. Like there was the LA period of my life when I was more of a hippie. Now I live in Nashville and I wear shoulder pads. I'm a grown-up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How, well,
I wear a
shouldn't
bra
ask.
every
I
day.
shouldn't ask.
What? How old am I? I'm
Yeah.
31.
Wow, you are?
I know. Isn't that weird?
I really was like, she's maybe 24.
Oh my God! Stop! Stop!
That's so
I lie
serious.
about my age to make me seem older.
You do?
No, I'm kidding. I am 31, and we've known each other since I think I met you when I was 16.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Spanning time.
spanning
And
time.
it's been beautiful to watch you grow into the woman that you are.
Oh,
And you
thank
are no lady for sale in my book.
Well, thank you.
But your record, Lady for Sale.
Yes,
Let's talk about it.
sure.
Where'd you make it? Who'd you make it with?
I made it with Austin Jenkins, who is a fantastic producer and writer, and we started kind of honing the songs over the course of the pandemic, and then as soon as everybody started getting vaccinated, we went into the studio and recorded it at the studio in East Nashville called The Cabin, and then it was just kind of for sale for a while and no one wanted to buy it. And then got to become friends with the creative director of Third Man, Jordan Williams, who I think just understood the references on the record in the right way and was like, and really liked it and took it to Third Man, and lo and behold, a deal was made.
Wow.
And I'm so excited to be putting a record out with them because I am a lifelong White Stripes fan. Have some very old photos of me after the Radio City, I think it was a Strokes White Stripes double bill, that I faked homesickness from camp to come home for.
Okay.
So it's kind of a dream come true in a lot of ways.
Wow, that's so cool. Full circle. Now
Yeah.
you're out and you live in Nashville. I still can't get over that. That's,
It's really weird.
it's so different for you, but it's great. So why, I know that your references are for that record kind of 80s country, right? What were you always a fan of country full stop, or specifically 80s, or were you like, I'm doing a concept record and I'm going to study 80s and then make something that's in that world?
It was a bit of a mixture of both. I've definitely always been a fan of country music, but more the kind of like Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn,
Right.
the stuff that everyone can really agree on, I
Right.
feel like.
Yeah.
I think 80s country gets a little bit more subversive, and you either like it because you grew up listening to it on country radio, or you're a freak like me who discovers it at some point in their life and decides to reorient their whole being around it. But yeah, I kind of just began to get really interested in songwriting and like song structure. And something I really appreciate about a lot of later 70s and 80s country music is just how dialed song structure is. I really love a tight chorus with verses that lead into it. And I think that there's something so exciting about the way country music can deliver that, because it's always fun and it always kind of breaks your heart at the same time. And so it was really exciting to me to kind of take the songs I was writing and begin to restructure them and think about them in a way that I was like, I want every song to have a big chorus, and I want every song to just like really be a song instead of a more like poetic thing, which I feel like I'd been doing in my earlier music.
Mm-hmm. Having done this, do you feel like this is what you're going to keep doing, or are you already thinking about your next iteration of Lola Kirke?
I don't know that I would make another like 80s country record. I feel like I'm like kind of gonna still base it in something more nostalgic, but like bigger like arena ballads are coming to mind a lot for me for the stuff I'm writing now. Like I wanted to write a song the other day that sounded like that In Excess song, I was standing, you were there, that song. And like also like Don't Cry, Guns N' Roses. I was like, we'll move through genre maybe later in the decade. I really enjoy though like having a reference point and having that be a kind of jumping off point. Particularly because I think to be making work at this point in the history of humanity, like you can't help but be referential to those who have come before us. So I think that's my way of kind of declaring that I'm part of a legacy instead of, just some individual that is spinning off into space on her own.
Right. Very cool. Do you feel that music or film, acting are related for you, or are they very siloed?
No, they're quite related in more ways than I think I would like to admit, honestly. Like, it recently occurred to me as I was getting ready for one of my shows, and I was putting on my spandex, and I was putting on my light-up fringe bra, and I was teasing my hair, and all that stuff. I was like, this is just a character. Like, this is a complete character under the guise of it being me, Lola Kirke, but it's just another role that I'm playing. And I think there is that, like, kind of, I don't know, maybe pretentious concept that a lot of actors talk about of, like, living more truthfully through the mask. But it's always helpful for me to have, like, a persona that I can kind of exist through. And maybe that's because I don't really know who I am for some reason, or maybe that says a lot. Maybe I know myself really well to know that I can't exist without a persona. But yeah, I think that there's something really, really safe to me and exciting and risky about like being like, this is Lola, fake Shania Twain,
Right.
Kirk.
Okay. And do you have of acting and music, and I'm sure you're creative in many other ways, which you're welcome to list here. Is there one
juggling?
There you
no,
go.
I can't juggle.
Is there one
no
that
skills.
is most like that you love the most, or is it equal?
Well, I think that I have felt more control as a musician, which is something that can feel at times exciting and then at other times can feel really daunting. I'm without a manager right now as a musician, and that I don't like being in that much control. It's exhausting. And also, like, I think the burden of promotion falls squarely on the artist a lot more when you're a musician, especially an independent musician. And that sucks, for lack of a better word. I find it really uninspiring to be on my phone as much as I am, but I really, really want my record to be heard.
Right.
So I'll do it.
Right.
I'm doing it for this greater good, not just for me to be like more famous. Like that
Right.
sounds actually horrible.
Right.
But so, and I think as an actress, you don't have to do that so much. There's unless you're writing and producing and directing your own movie, and
Right.
and there's no engine behind it. There's a beautiful hummingbird over there. I was
Isn't that
struck.
such good news?
It's such good
we
news.
saw one there too, and it's just it makes the day better when you see it's a good omen.
Near the alien flowers.
Yeah.
For those who can't see, there are flowers that come from outer space
Yeah.
blooming all around us.
Yeah, we're very blessed to be in this outdoor gazebo in
Yeah.
the hills for sure. Talking about
beautiful.
music and art, what privilege
Yeah,
we
what
have.
privilege we have,
Really,
truly.
truly remarkable that this is us here now in 2022 with all that is going on, and that is a good segue for me
Yes.
to ask: is there something in the world that you champion, that you're passionate about? Kind of activism or something you look to and really feel that your voice, whether it's through music or just holding it in your heart and being an advocate for it quietly, is there something specific that sweeps you up?
I mean, there are so many things. I think the greater thing is just like people being safe and well. So at times in my life that has been being, I forgot what the term was. It's like, an escort at a women's clinic here we're in Downey, and that was something that felt really like vital to do at the time. I remember standing outside, and it was between a Chick-fil-A and an In-N-Out burger, and just like the smell of every Sunday morning was like, I don't know, just for whatever reason that sense memory has like very much stuck with me, of like waiting for people to get out of their cars, and you would walk them because there was tremendous protests outside of these clinics. And now living in Tennessee, that's been quite fascinating to be living in a blue city in a red state, and there's really intense legislation occurring in Tennessee about trans community. And then I guess like the thing that has been kind of most interesting to me lately is I think like women's self-esteem generally, and I'm not sure how to talk about that, because I think that it's really hard to live in a world where people are, talking about creating good, and then everybody is changing their face and, contributing to the general anxiety of mankind. And as an artist, that's the opposite of what I want to do. And the body does become incredibly political on so many different levels. I mean, I think that, I as an actress, have been told multiple times that I should diet or lose weight. As recently as a costume designer sending a text to someone that she thought was not me that said she's bigger than most actresses. And I laughed at first and then cried for a few hours and then was like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, so I don't know. I think that there's a part of me that wants to be like completely empowered and body positive, and then there's another part of me that really, really wants to be easily digestible and work all the time and be successful. And balancing those two parts of me has been a challenge. I hope that this record in a way speaks to that, and that's like what The Lady for Sale is all about. There is a twist of irony. I don't think I could go into the process of releasing music and putting myself out there without it, because it's brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that like women's bodies, I guess, would be the most like urgent thing to me personally. And it's really hard to be brave and be like, I am gonna look different, and see if people still like me. And I mean, like, I don't know, I have hairy armpits right now for a role, actually. For the first time, it's not because by choice. I was actually really enjoying shaving my armpits for a minute there. It felt very elegant in whatever way. And, like, just the onslaught of, you understand why people, like,
fit in.
Well, why people drop bombs like on other people, because the lack of humanity that you can kind of just constantly engage with on the internet. I mean, how easy it must be to just like press a button and not care about somebody or devastate somebody. And like, I like to think I'm stronger than to be deeply affected by somebody I've never seen saying something horrific about the way I look. But it does slowly erode you, and there becomes this like heavy lift that you have to do as an individual to choose to intentionally not care about that, and hope that you can help other women not care about that, and other men too, and other everybody, because I it's not just women who are being impacted by those kinds of ideas.
Right. Well, and thank you for bringing it up. I think you articulated so well what so many of us struggle with, specifically around the idea of like being who you are versus fitting into something and being easily digestible, right? Like being what is needed, being asked of you in a societal sense, which is literally just much like money and many things. It's a decision we all made to give that value, to give this idea that a woman looks like this, and if you don't fit into that, then you're like a out there version of a woman,
right?
Or like you're doing something really courageous to just be who you are. Wow, look at her, she's being courageous. It's like, what do you mean? I'm just being me.
Right.
Oh God, but and you're gonna judge me if I'm not, if I, and that's the nicest thing people might say, right? That you're being courageous. That's
Yes,
a really,
right.
that's the compliment version. But I think, one thing that I came to myself, because I've been in the same world as you and in entertainment since I was a kid, is realizing that it's not really, if I can let go of feeling like I have to figure it out and more create the intention around why I'm a creative and an artist, and ask that whatever that creative in me is there, why it's there, whatever that talent is, may it be a cause of benefit to people. May the right things come into my world, and may I express in a way that is courageous in a world that doesn't understand those parts of me, and so that it takes the edge off it being sort of all about me, and then more about like, how can I be an instrument?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And the more that I do that in those times where you feel sort of demonized or judged or all that, and go like, wait, no, I already committed to just being an instrument for good through the creative. And you have that. You've got that going. We all have that. We all have the potential
Yes.
to engage that. And so for me, that has helped me, and I hope that that helps you.
Well, it is so helpful, and it is just a daily reprieve, though. Like, I mean, I am programmed to
absolutely
seek the external validation and only feel as worthy as other people tell me I am.
Right.
Instead of to understand that the only person that can give me validation is myself, and, all that. And by that, I mean the universe or God, or call it whatever you will. And it's recently just occurred to me that, like, to be creative is so divine in a certain way. I mean, I think that you are paying homage to, like, the great creation that is around you, and situating my creative intention in that world instead of it being in my ego world is something that, like, I have to do all the time, because I mean, I grew up in New York City, where, like, everybody was fabulous, and and everybody was miserable, and, like, you were just going to kind of exist loudly between those two places. And I do want more from life than that, and I hope, and I see some people really, really operating on that higher plane. But I think that, I don't know. I think that art being about, like, service and giving is just, like, what I want it to be about, and what I hope to contribute to. I don't want other people to feel bad. Mm-hmm. Like, art has helped me feel good so many times in my life, or challenged me and made me really uncomfortable, but then ultimately helped me grow.
Right.
So being part of that is a tremendous privilege. Right. And I have to remind myself about that every day. Yeah.
And let that message just keep coming through, whatever it is, even if we don't know, right? Just allowing what's our best selves to come forward. That's what I always try to do, because it's all a mystery, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't, I've learned the older I've gotten, and I'll be 50 this year.
Oh my God, cool.
I know that it just isn't about all of that yucky, mucky muck stuff, right? It's really about this connection to our spirits, like whatever that is. That knows what's going on. I don't. My ego self doesn't. So getting out of the way.
Yes, getting out of the way, and also having fun.
Well, of course. Joy is, like, actually the fuel.
Yes, completely.
Joy is the fuel.
And I think this country music, to me, and, like, this persona is, like, a person that knows how to have a little bit more fun than maybe I sometimes know how to.
Right. That's so great.
I find myself smiling so much on stage. I don't know if people think I'm insane, but I'm smiling at a lot of people, and people smile back, and sometimes they don't, and you know not to make eye contact with that person, maybe go to someone else. But yeah, I think making this record, I was like, I want to, like, bring fun back. I mean, not that I'm doing that single-handedly. I think that that's out there, but for a long time I thought that my work had to be, like, so serious. Even as an actress, like, I had to be crying all the time, or something like that. Right. And the answer is that you don't. The truth is that you don't, rather.
Well, and I would even add to that the world needs more joy right now, more than ever, and always. But the more that we can make joy, that is the secret that's the fuel for all of us, like, there's enough sorrow and sadness and suffering, so let's make some joy. So I'm happy to hear that you're doing that with this record, and even if it's bringing you joy, then that's reverberating.
Yes.
Right? So, and it will touch others. I'm just so happy to have this conversation with you, because
Me too.
It's so wonderful to be reconnected and talk about something as deep as finding our joy in a world that is kind of buried right now in a lot of sadness, you know?
Yeah, I would agree that that's how it feels. I
Yeah.
mean, it's exhausting
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Even going on Sunset Boulevard, I'm like, I want to see the mountain, but I can't because there's an advertisement.
Right.
And the advertisement makes me hate my body.
Right.
so I'll just look down
Right.
at my phone at another advertisement
Right.
that makes me hate my body. You know, I mean, there's more
Wow.
to my phone than that. I will say there's some cat memes on there too, which I don't even like cats that much, but man, the memes that they're in. Pretty cool.
Thank you for you. That was a beautiful little soundbite that became a joy bomb. So there we are again.
So glad.
Oh man. So how did music first find you?
Well, I got a ukulele when I was like 17. It was small enough that I could torture everybody I knew with it because I could carry it wherever. And I had these Jumpin' Jim's ukulele music books. Country music book was really fun for me. I learned how to play Crazy by Patsy Cline on there and really felt good about myself for that because it seemed like this thing that I would never have been able to do without Jumpin' Jim and my ukulele. And then from there, I like kind of evolved to the guitar and then was like, I think I could write songs. And then started writing songs, and then I was like, I think I should put a record out. And then did that, and now here I am. So it was a slow progression, but I certainly didn't think that music was available to me growing up. It seemed like something only boys could do back in the mid to early 2000s. I didn't know that many women that played music at all. I remember like Lisa Fisher. Do you know Lisa? She's a backup singer in the Rolling Stones. And she had like the coolest voice I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
And I got to see the Rolling Stones play a bunch when I was younger. And my favorite part was always when she would come out and sing the solo in Gimme Shelter. And she was like the only woman I knew who played music when I was a kid. So it was a slow understanding that like I too could do that.
And what about music? Like how, when you were a kid and like, how did it find you in terms of like, who first introduced you to music? How did you go, oh my God, music, what's this thing?
Yeah.
And what band or what, I know your dad is a musician, right?
Yes. Well, funnily enough, I don't think it really was my dad, though. My school bus driver, Rohan, used to play 101.1 every morning, and I would sit up front because Rohan and I were pals. And he would always let me sing the solo from, or not the solo. He liked my voice, and he encouraged me to sing like Roberta Flack songs and Otis Redding songs, and I really liked Motown as a kid.
Yeah.
And then my dad certainly encouraged me, but I'll never forget Rohan. I'm like, I need to
That's so
find him
cool.
somewhere.
So your school bus driver.
My school bus driver.
Is how you found music.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was so fun. I mean, and it was really like, the freaks were on that school bus. All the kids that lived like in a certain neighborhood very far away from the school itself. So I want to find them. We should have a reunion, me and all those kids.
Yeah, awesome. If you had to pick just one, what album changed your life?
Music from the Big Pink, the band album.
Okay.
I don't know why. I think I found like another 11-year-old girl when I found it who also loved it, and the two of us with the taste of a 50-year-old white man decided that this was like the greatest album of all time, and listened to it endlessly.
Okay, and what format did you listen to it on?
CD.
CD.
I had a gift certificate to the Virgin Megastore.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Those are now no longer.
No, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Virgin Megastore.
So what was your life like at the time? Do you recall?
I think I was kind of a depressed kid, honestly, which is probably why, men who were alcoholics and junkies were really speaking to me. But yeah, I remember being very, very moved by the song Lonesome Susie on there, which I don't really think I can bring myself to listen to now. I think it would make me really sad. But I guess I was probably pretty lonely.
Wow. You just answered the other three questions I had. Did that album introduce you to other albums?
Yes. Well, I kind of came to Bob Dylan after that. After that, I really liked the electric side of the 1966 bootleg series, which they call Bob Dylan Judas on that because he had kind of gone from being a folk artist to being a rock artist. And I got really into that. And what else? I mean, so many things. From there, a lot of Neil Young. And then Neil Young into the Byrds, and the Byrds from Sweetheart of the Rodeo into Graham Parsons, and Graham Parsons into the world of country. So yes, it was a interesting journey. I used to say that if you had done like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young as like a family tree, I could, all of my favorite artists would be in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, how can we find you on the interwebs?
I am on TikTok, which is, I think it's I Love Lola Kirke, because, the self-esteem was just getting really low. So yeah, I had to be like, it's an affirmation,
Right.
At Lola Kirke on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Okay, great. And do you have a website?
Yes, it's ilovelolakirke.com.
And Kirk is with an E for those of you who are right now on your computer looking, right?
Yes.
So Kirke.
That's true. And it's not Lola Kirke.
Right.
Because, it just doesn't have the same ring to it.
No. Well, thank you so much for sharing your afternoon with me. And have a great tour. And so happy for you.
Thank you.
It's great to see you again.
You too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
LaunchLeft aims to create an intentional space that highlights and empowers all artists for whom radical creativity is not a choice, but a necessity. LaunchLeft begins with music, but its ultimate aim is to launch left-of-center artists in all creative fields.